Hey there, shoe aficionado. So it seems like you're thinking about a career change. You sent us some really interesting stuff about becoming a shoe and leather accessories specialized seller, including this whole RoleCatcher career guide. And let me tell you, diving into all this, it's clear it's not just about knowing your shoe sizes.
It really isn't. It's fascinating how this career path brings together like the art of traditional retail with this constantly changing world of, well, fashion and even technology.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to be comfortable in both worlds these days. Imagine like needing to advise a customer on the perfect pair of heels, but they're shopping online.
Right. You're not just fitting them in person. You got to know how to use all these digital tools too.
It's wild. But speaking of tech, the guide really emphasizes how important those skills are becoming, even for jobs we think of as very in-person.
It's true. Think about it. Point of sale systems, inventory software, even online styling tools, that's all becoming standard in shoe retail now.
Wow, I hadn't even considered some of that. It's incredible how much tech is involved now. But we can't forget about the heart of retail. It's about the customers, right? And this guide really stresses being a people person.
And for good reason. Imagine you walk into a boutique, you need the perfect pair of shoes for a special event. You're not just looking for someone to measure your feet, you want a consultant.
Someone who gets your style. That sounds pretty demanding, though, to be that person for every customer.
It can be. The guide's pretty upfront about that you're on your feet all day, constant flow of customers, managing inventory. It's not easy.
Definitely not for everyone. It sounds like a very rewarding job, but also really challenging. So there are flexible hours, and potentially you could earn a lot of money, but you also have to deal with competition. Long hours sometimes, and like you said, always be on top of the trends.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be passionate and knowledgeable about shoes and leather goods, but you also need that business sense, to really thrive in such a fast-paced industry.
And speaking of thriving, the guide does highlight the career progression, which I think is really interesting. Like you could move up to a management position, maybe become a buyer for a brand, or even work as a manufacturer's representative, kind of a go-between with the designers and the retailers.
Yeah, and that's what I think is so cool about this. It's not just a job, it could be a starting point to so many different things in the fashion world.
Yeah, you're right. It really highlights how this isn't just like a job. It could be the start of a whole career path in fashion, which it seems like is what you are looking for.
Mm.
And you seem really interested in those tools that can help you navigate that, which is where those other role catcher excerpts come in. The ones about their approach to the whole job market, not just this one career.
Right. Like they're trying to be this like one-stop shop for job seekers.
Which makes it, I mean, the whole process can be overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
But it's their focus on things like AI screening software that's really interesting. A lot of people probably don't even know that exists, let alone how to deal with it. Yeah, it's like this hurdle you don't even see coming.
Mm.
And you've got to jump it just to get your resume in front of an actual person. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. So I get why they say it's so important to tailor your resume to beat those bots.
Oh, absolutely. It's like you have to speak their language first before you can even talk about your passion for shoes, right? And that's where RoleCatcher is really helpful. They tell you exactly how to optimize your resume for these systems, like using the right keywords, making sure it's formatted so the algorithms can read it easily, that kind of thing.
Wow. I didn't even know some of that mattered. Makes you realize you really have to stay up to date, even if the job itself seems kind of traditional.
Totally. You've got to adapt. And speaking of being prepared, we can't forget about interviews. You sent over some of their interview prep stuff too. And oh my gosh, it's amazing. They have so many questions specific to different careers. But for today, maybe we can just focus on one from the shoe seller guide, one that I'm sure comes up a lot. Can you describe your experience working in shoe and leather accessories sales?
Which seems simple enough at first, but I can see how it might be tough if you've never actually had that exact job title before. What do you even say if you've never, technically sold shoes?
Right. That's when you've got to talk about transferable skills. Think of it this way. Even if you haven't worked in a shoe store, you've probably done things that are relevant. Like, have you worked in any kind of retail job where you had to interact with customers or handle sales? Maybe merchandise products.
So you're saying someone could make a connection between working at, a clothing store and understanding how to make displays that are visually appealing.
Exactly. Or even just working at a coffee shop. You're still dealing with people, right? You're learning how to make recommendations, maybe personalize their order. It's all connected.
So it's more about highlighting what you already know how to do and showing how that fits into the world of shoes.
Exactly. It's like you're connecting the dots for the interviewer, showing them that you might not have walked in the exact same shoes, but you've got the right experience for the job.
I love that. So we've really gone through it all, haven't we? The good, the bad, and the maybe a little smelly when it comes to being a shoe and leather accessories specialized seller.
Right. We've covered a lot of ground, from the day-to-day, in the store, to how to absolutely nail that interview.
Exactly. But I bet you're still wondering, like with all this in mind, is this the right path for you?
And that, unfortunately, is not a question we can answer for you. Only you can.
It's true. We've looked at the skills, the demands, even where this job could lead you down the line. But it all comes down to you, what you're passionate about.
Like trying on a pair of shoes. We can tell you the size is right, it's a cool style, but how does it feel when you put them on, you know?
I like that. So really are you comfortable on your feet all day?
Yeah.
Do you actually like dealing with people? And of course, do you love shoes?
You've got to have the passion. And these days, you have to be okay with using technology as part of the job. That's not going away.
Definitely not. Now, speaking of things that are always changing, there was that really interesting question in the guide about the future of retail in general. What happens with specialized shoe sellers in the age of fast fashion and those online influencers, Can the shoe store even survive?
Right. That's a big one. It makes you wonder if there's space for both. The actual store and the online experience. Could they work together somehow?
Maybe. Imagine, like, you're in a store and you get a notification on your phone recommending something you might like based on what you're looking at. Or you can do a virtual styling session right there.
Oh, that's interesting. It's like that line between online and in person is getting blurrier. And that probably changes what skills you need to succeed.
For sure.
Yeah.
We've only really scratched the surface here, I think. The fashion world is always moving, right?
Yeah.
But some things never change. Like you said before, you got to be passionate, you got to be able to adapt, and you've really got to want to learn and grow.
Absolutely. That's good advice for any job, honestly.
So true. So while we can't say for sure if this is the career for you, hopefully this has given you the information to figure that out for yourself.
Exactly. You've got all the pieces now, so trust your gut.
And who knows, maybe we'll see you out there in the shoe selling world someday. Until then, happy job hunting, everyone.